Can you sit? Oh, good girl. Okay, let's start with some ab work. Not ab work, abdominal breathing work. One hand on the lower abdomen and the other hand on top. And let's start connecting to our center. So breathing into the low abdomen helps us drop into the present moment, because when we feel centered, our attention's in our center, then it brings our attention into where we are in this moment. Just using that intention to start slowing the breath down. Really feel grounded through the soles of your feet. Just feel that support of the earth below. And then sinking into the present moment by slowing the breath, slowing the mind, just slowing down in general. And really allowing ourselves to start becoming aware of things that are happening around us that maybe we're not always attuned to or paying attention to because we're distracted or maybe on devices. So as you're breathing slowly, the mind starts to clear. Our attention is where we are right now. Maybe sounds start coming into your awareness. Sounds that are happening around you. Maybe certain smells. Just noticing even the texture of the clothes on your skin. Slow, deep breathing. We'll go into a movement on the breath. So let's drop the arms down and we'll continue the slow breathing, more focusing on the wave breathing as we move through this movement. Let's inhale, starting the inhale from the belly, let it rise up as the hands float up all the way above your head, and then pause at the top of the exhale before you start the inhale. Just pause for a second or two, and then as you start to exhale, the hands start to float down. So when we say we're moving on the breath, right, the breath starts first. The breath starts, and then the movement follows. And just at the very top of the inhale, pause for a second and then exhale all the way down. And as you exhale, maybe at the very bottom of the exhale, also pause and then inhale. It's in that slight pause between inhales and exhales and vice versa, right, that the mind gets crystal clear. So we're stretching the dynamics of the breath. We're stretching the polarity. And when we stretch polarity, what happens when we have a positive and negative charge, right? We have all of this energy that's generated, this chi that's generated. Now at the top of the inhale, so it's bring the arms all the way up. Keep your left hand facing up. The right hand comes down to face the earth. And then stretch over to your right. So you're stretching the left side of your rib cage. And then come back to the center, spiral the hands in towards one another. So you're sort of sinking down, a little bend in the knees, and then we'll switch. So now the right hand comes up, left hand comes down, and then gently stretching over to your left. And then come back to the center, spiral the hands in. And the breath here is we inhale as we stretch, and then exhale as we come to the center. Nice, slow, long exhale. And then now we inhale over to the left and exhale to the center. So we're moving slowly. Think about slowing the movement down so it matches the length of the inhale and exhale. So if we're talking a nice slow inhale, right, the movement's going to be just as slow. And then exhale, moving slowly to match the length of the exhale. The sides of the rib cage, the intercostals get a really nice stretch, which helps the breathing, right, be more efficient. So let's meet. So the next time that your right hand is up and left hand is down, pause here. And then what we're going to do is take that top hand down and behind you. And as you do, you're going to rotate over to the right so your left arm comes across. So now the left hand's facing towards the back room and your right hand's extended and back. So you're making almost like a little corkscrew. And then come back to the center nice and slowly. And I'm going to rotate over to the left. The right arm comes across and then reaches towards the back. So you're rotating and then you're unwinding and then you're rotating. So we're wringing out the spine here. Inhale back to the center. Exhale, rotating over to the left. Inhale to the center. Over to the right. So your hands are moving in two different directions. As we rotate over to the left, your right arm is coming across and your right palm's kind of reaching towards the back of the room, and then your left arm comes down, palm facing the front of the room. So you're using that as a mechanism of getting into the rotation just a little bit more deeply. Let's do one more to each side. And then from here, we're going to drop right into knocking on the door of life. So we're going to rotate from the center here, the hips, the waist, and we're knocking across the low back and the abdomen. Getting some nice stimulation through the whole belt channel, the only channel that runs horizontally across the body is right around the waist. It's called the dai, D-A-I. So we're knocking across the low back, which is the area of the Ming Men, the low abdomen. I keep saying that incorrectly today. And then the entire channel goes around the circumference of the waist, and it helps integrate the energy in the top half of the body and the lower half of the body. And then come up just below the collarbone. And then all the way to the top of the shoulders. Really getting into that upper trapezius muscle, the top of the shoulders, right? Where we tend to hang on to tension. We're just starting to release some stress and tension from this area. Disperse it. And then come back down below the collarbone. And back down to the waist. And then let's slowly unwind. Okay, we're going to do a little clearing exercise that's a little bit more of a balance, and we're engaging the right and left sides of the brain together. So we'll start with the arms above the head. This is the inhale. Now as we exhale, we're going to go through this very slowly first. As we exhale, the arms come down, and as we do, transfer the weight to the left foot and then bring your right foot behind you, just to the ball of the foot, so you're in sort of like a little curtsy, and then come back up as the arms come up. So it's a little bit of a balance too. So as we exhale, the arms come down. Now step back with your left foot, and then come back to the center on the inhale. So exhale, transfer the weight, step back with your right foot, and then come right back up in the inhale. You don't have to make it that deep. You can just step back slightly, like tapping your toes down, or you can bend that front knee a little bit deeper to get into the deep muscles of the lower leg. So it's an inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Really good for coordination. It's almost like a dance step. And I know they say dancing is one of the things that's really good to do as we get older because it requires balance, it requires coordination, right? Learning steps. But this is a clearing exercise too. So think about exhaling away any tension. And you can go again as slow as you'd like if that feels better. Or if you can go a little bit faster. The heart rate might be getting a little bit elevated. Right? It's going to increase circulation. And start to slow down. A little dance step. Dancing also elevates our mood, right? They say dancing is really a good thing. All right, now let's do a little stretch for the head, neck, and shoulders. Let's do dragon stretches its tail since we haven't done that in a while. So your hands will be over to your left, so your palms are facing you. That's the inhale. And as we exhale, turn the palms away and then stretch the hands over to the left as you turn and look right. So you're getting a stretch through the shoulder, through the neck. And as you inhale, turn your head back around so you're looking at your hands. They can come in slightly and then exhaling away. So you're pushing the hands away. You may not straighten that front arm all the way, but the idea is that you're pushing in that direction. And then you turn and look into the right. So inhale. And then nice slow exhale. And inhale. Exhale. And keep those fingers also engaged. If you spread the fingers slightly, the stretch will not only be down the shoulder and the arm, but it will stretch out the palms in between the fingers also, and the wrist. Again, nice slow exhale. So the movements match the length of the inhales and exhales. So if you're going real slow on your breath, the movement should follow suit. And one more. This time at the end of your exhale, let's just pause so the head's turned. And let's take a nice deep inhale as we're in this slight rotation here. See if you can turn maybe just a little bit more. See what's going on over here on the right side of the room. Take it all in. And then inhale everything back to the center. Just drop your arms down for a moment. Close your eyes. Just noticing what's happening through the left side of the body. As we open up these pathways of energy, we feel circulation, we feel qi even more. And let's bring the hands over now to the right. You're going to look at your hands on the inhale. And then exhale, pushing over to the right as you turn and look left. And then inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale, stretching those fingers. And the bottom of the next exhale, let's keep our head turned over so the arms are stretched. Take a deep inhale here, a nice slow exhale. Take in the left side of the room. And then drop the arms down. Shake them out. And let's come into a wider stance. And let's do a little swimming dragon. Since we're in spring, the dragon is associated with the wood element, which is the liver and gallbladder. And swimming dragon moves energy through especially the rib cage, which is the domain of the gallbladder and the liver channels. So we'll start with the palms together at the center of the chest. And then as we shift the weight over to the right, the hands go across to the right, and then you turn and look left. And then inhale everything back to the center, and then shift the weight over to the left. Hands come across to the left, and then you turn and look right. So the weight shifts, the arms shift that same direction. It's just your head that's looking in the opposite direction to create a little bit of the dynamic tension. And then you can pick up the pace a little bit. Maybe try inhaling in one direction and exhaling the other direction. Moving energy. So as you move the arms across horizontally, right, we're getting a stretch through the rib cage. Generating qualities of the wood element, right? Resilience, creativity, vision. And then let's come to the center. So still your knees are still bent, pseudo squat. And then we start making a little serpentine motion with your torso. So your hands are still in the center here, right? So the movement, even if I cross my arms, you'll see the movement's coming from the waist and the rib cage. So back and forth, right to left. And then we start sneaking our hands up in front of the face. And in front of the forehead. And then slightly above the head. And then we're going to come up, 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 all the way up. Now straighten the legs so you're stretching way up. And then exhale. All right, let's do it one more time. So bending the knees, palms together. This time we'll shift the weight over to the left first and turn, look right. Center over to the right, look left. This is a practice it's an anti-aging practice in terms of our energy, right? We want to create this resilience and this strength, mobility. So it's a practice for longevity. And you're keeping your palms nice and close together or squeezed together. And then let's come to the center. Stay in that bend. And then again, we start making this fun little S curve with the spine, the ribs. And we start to bring the hands up a little bit in front of the face, in front of the forehead, coming up above the head. And then we're going to stretch way up again. This time, grab one wrist with your opposite hand. Really stretch up. And then we're going to come all the way forward this time. Just give the back side a little stretch here. So the hamstrings, the neck, the upper body. Just breathe here for a moment. And then grab one wrist with your opposite hand again, and then very slowly, let's roll up. So stacking one vertebrae right on top of the other. And then one more stretch. And then release the arms down. Okay, let's bring the feet closer together again and shake out the feet. Let's do some shaking with the sound of the wood element. That's shh. So start pumping the legs, pumping the arms. And then on the exhale, we'll make the sound of the wood element. Shh. The sound, the wood element, when we make that sound, we're clearing out the qualities that maybe we don't want to hang on to, like jealousy or envy, right? Qualities of anger is a big one of the wood element. And then we're breathing in the resiliency, creativity, benevolence, kindness. And then we'll start to slow down. So we'll do a few flows now for the wood element, generating creativity and inner vision, releasing anger and ire, irritability. So we're going to start with the arms in lower embrace the tree. This is a lovely posture. Postures are used quite often in QiGong. So we'll just pause here, slight bend in the knees, let your tailbone drop towards the earth, the crown of the head reaching up, and start just breathing slowly. Imagine the tops of the back of the hands are resting on the surface of water. That's how light you want that to be. Just floating. And then we'll slowly rotate over to your left, keeping that same posture. And then we'll inhale. The hands come up the sides of the body. Inhale, inhale, inhale. Now the inhale, pause that breath as we come to the center, and then exhale. Exhale all the way back down to that starting posture. And then before we inhale, turn. So there's a slight pause in the breath, right? Then we inhale as we come up, all the way up the top of the inhale. Pause the breath, come to the center, and then exhale. Pause the inhale, turn to the left, then inhale. So you notice that slight pause as we rotate back and forth. And once we are front and center, we exhale. Pause in the transition. And then inhale as we're over to the right. So embrace the tree. Feeling the legs like the roots, the trunk of a tree. And we're inhaling and drawing up energy from the earth to fuel the body, to make us strong. So just like a tree, this network of roots underneath that keeps us rooted and grounded, pulling in nutrients, but then expanding up towards the sunlight. Keeping the hands nice and relaxed as we come to the center and we exhale. There's a softness through the arms, a softness through the fingers. They just float through the space, back down, then turning to the left. Expanding our inner vision. The vision's also associated with the wood element in the liver. That the actual vision, our eyes, but also our internal vision and that creative force. So we're nourishing the physical aspect, like our tendons and ligaments, which are the tissues associated with the wood element, but also the energy of creativity and growth. Let's do one more to each side. And as we come to the center, just let your arms fall all the way down. Come to the chi ball, feeling the space between your hands. And then from here, we'll go into another wood-centric flow, dancing with the tree. So you want to step forward with your left foot, so you're at an angle. And we'll start with the palms facing one another, and then dip your fingers down so they're facing towards that front leg. And then you're going to extend the arms down on either side or just in front of that leg, and then transition. So shift your weight forward to that front knee, and then you're going to bring your arms that are extended all the way up. And as you come all the way up, start transferring the weight to the back foot, and then bring your hands in towards you. And then they start to sneak their way down again, and we shift the weight forward. And imagine that as we're drawing the arms up, right, we're tracing the trunk of this beautiful tree all the way up to the branches and the leaves. And as we inhale, we're drawing that energy down into our bodies. And then we're taking our energy and sending it back to the earth to be absorbed by the tree. So we're inhaling as we shift the weight back, as we're drawing in. And then we're exhaling as we're sending energy down through the tree, which is actually sort of what happens, right? We exhale out carbon dioxide, which the tree takes in. And in response, it's very nice of them. They give us oxygen, right, which we breathe in. So that's really such a wonderful representation of what's happening without us even thinking about it. It's this reciprocity. Right? We are in relation to the earth. We're of the earth. We're earth beings. And how important it is to protect our environment, because we are really dependent. We are an integral part of what's happening, and the health of the whole biosphere, the organism, is that we understand that relationship and the dynamic and honor it. I didn't mean to be preachy here. This is supposed to be inspiring. Inhaling, drawing the energy in from the tree, right? And then exhaling, giving back. Was feeling that cycle of energy, and really that we're not necessarily so separate or separate at all, really. We're constantly taking in from the environment, integrating, and then sending back into the environment, which makes us deeply connected. On the next inhale, let's step the front foot back, and then step the right foot forward, right, as we exhale. And then inhale as we draw back to the back foot. Exhale as we extend forward towards that front foot. Symbiosis. And just feel just like a tree is absorbing nutrients and sunlight from the inside and outside, like the entire tree is breathing in. Just feel as we inhale that you're breathing through all of your pores, that your pores are taking in this energy, not just through the mouth, but your entire structure, that you're breathing in with all of your cells. And on the next inhale, let's step back with that front foot. And let's bring our palms back into our chi ball for a moment. Just feeling that your body's open, that you're literally breathing in through your pores from the environment around you. And there's a sparkling light, like electrical light, or like sunshine when it's shimmering over a pristine lake in the middle of the summer. That quality is percolating through your entire body. And then let's drop the arms down. And let's inhale the right arm out to the side and all the way up until it's right above the crown of your head. And then exhale down the center. And then inhale the left. And the right. And left. Drawing everything into our center. We'll stay here for another minute or so, just collecting, drawing down, storing in the lower dantian. And after the next exhalation, just let your hands fall below the belly button. And let's bring the feet together to finish off in our bamboo in the wind stance. So you can keep your eyes open or close them. Again, just feeling that simultaneous grounding down while reaching up with the crown of your head. Feeling aligned, right, with the earth energy, that gravitational pull. And feeling expansive through the crown of the head.